whenever you're evaluating a business model, just do your homework. Really, call people that get people that own this into this business model, whether it's a business opportunity, it's a franchise, it's just, a mom and pop business. Do your homework, really validate. In the franchise world, you validate, you call other franchisees that own in the system. And that's where you're going to really learn a lot of the good and the bad. And that's what you need to do as you're evaluating businesses.
Folks, please don't forget, as a special bonus for being a part of our school community, One Rental at a Time, you have access to join the Small Business Summit run by Bo Eckstein. There's already 450 RSVPs. Please know that part of the monthly fee that you give to be a part of the group allows you to attend as well. Bo, this is going to start, 9 a.m. Saturday?
Yep, 9 a.m. this Saturday.
I look forward to that. Well, folks, again, join the community, ask some questions, be a part of that, learn about small businesses. But you know what? I want to transition to the topic at hand, and that is, why does a small business sell for more if they have reoccurring revenue? What say you, Bo?
Sure. So, a service-based business that without recurring revenue might trade for 2 to 3 times earnings versus some of these websites and these SaaS type businesses, software businesses. They're going to trade for 5, 10, sometimes 20% multiples. It's crazy. So whenever you have a recurring revenue component of a business, it's predictable, right? And
Yeah.
investors come out, they want to buy predictability. So I think when you're evaluating businesses to invest in, think about that component. There's some businesses that don't have much of a recurring revenue model, such as a painting company. They could potentially have high profit margins. It could be a great cash flow business, but you're always churning. You're always selling the painting jobs, right? Versus, let's look at pest control. So I work with one brand that does, what I like about them, they do all sorts of different pest control, bed bugs, commercial, residential. They also get government contracts. So they're approved to get government contracts. Some of these contracts could be a couple years. So they're big projects. So you invest in a business like that with recurring revenue. When you go to exit, your business is going to be valued more. You're going to get a higher multiple. So that's why you're going to look at something like that, and you're going to kind of
Yeah.
compare the pros and cons.
I would actually tell you to be opportunistic. One of the things that I would do if I was looking for a small business like this is maybe look for one that doesn't currently have reoccurring revenue, but you could implement reoccurring revenue, right? Maybe there's a pest control company, just for example, because you brought it up earlier, who doesn't sign clients to a monthly or quarterly or yearly schedule. Well, there's just easy money to be had there. I go back to actually thinking about my software days. So I started in enterprise software well over 20 years ago, where there was this thing called perpetual license, right? You would sell a license, let's call it 100 grand. You would do something called a maintenance agreement, basically patches and stuff like that, upgrades. And that would be it, right? You sell it for 100 grand, there'd be 20 points of maintenance, sell it for 120 grand. But then you know what? You got to sell the next one and the next one and next one. And it was about 15 years ago, maybe a little bit more, where SaaS became a thing. And it's really funny. When I left um, the company, because again, we always had bookings and revenue, right? And when you're in a SaaS-based business, you could go into a quarter with more than half of your revenue done, right? Which is a pretty cool thing. So yeah, there's a lot more um, assurances in a business where you can get perpetual, or you could go get like SaaS-based monthly, quarterly, yearly. So I would tell you, looking at a small business, how can you get on that drip of consistent revenue? It's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of business models that have that recurring revenue. A lot of health and wellness businesses, you look at like the Orange Theories, right? It's all membership driven. So I was looking at they do infrared saunas, this one franchise concept, and I'm understanding the brand a little bit. You need 2 employees, a person in the front, person that cleans the saunas. I think the average membership is in the $200 range, give or take, right? So what they do is once they're, you know, opening the location several months out, what their goal is to get to at least a break even with membership base. What I like about this, for somebody that's maybe a first time entrepreneur, I think it's a safer model because you're like, okay, if I have 100 members, I'm at break even. And if I can do that, if I can get 80 before we even open the doors, right? Like, I think it gives you a layer of safety versus like always being on the grind with a business that you're always selling. So you just have to know the differences. I look at so many different businesses. I had a guy present e-com stores, and what they do is they go and build your e-com store. I've heard a lot of horror stories, so I'm like asking this guy's questions. I'm like, look, I know guys that invested 50 grand in these e-com stores, and he's like, well, here's how we're different, this and that. There's interesting business models out there. I think you just, whenever you're evaluating a business model, just do your homework. Really, call people that get people that own this into this business model, whether it's a business opportunity, it's a franchise, it's just, a mom and pop business. Do your homework, really validate. In the franchise world, you validate, you call other franchisees that own in the system. And that's where you're going to really learn a lot of the good and the bad. And that's what you need to do as you're evaluating businesses. Most people I talk to right now, I would say they're pretty good income earners, W-2 mostly, $200,000 to $400,000 range, usually in tech or medical field. And they're like, okay, I need some diversification. I want to invest in a business, but I'm not going to quit my job. So you have to find something that aligns, because at the end of the day, you have to run the business, or at least have the general manager that's going to run the business. So you got to really take your time to evaluate these different business models. And that's why we're doing the summit this weekend, is because I just want more people to get educated.
Yep.
I actually just, I'm going to be are you familiar with SCORE?
Mhm.
SCORE is a
I think so.
nonprofit. Yeah. So
Mm.
I'm now a SCORE mentor here in Las Vegas. Um,
Nice.
so I'll be presenting some workshops for them. I don't know what got me interested. I mean, I'm on their mailing list and stuff. And I said, oh, it would be cool to be a volunteer and give back an hour or
Nice.
two a month or something. And just, most of the people that go into SCORE are really newbies. They need a lot of hand holding. But I take experienced people. I can help very, beginner people. So it's exciting. I like to give back once in a while. I think it's our duty as human
Yeah.
beings to do that.
Yeah, leave the world a better place. Help the ones behind you because people helped you. So I think it's just good. It's good karma. You're putting some karma in the bank, which I always think is a good idea. It's really interesting. The more and more we talk about this, the more and more I think small business and real estate have a lot of commonalities. Because again, one of the things we're talking about here is understand where the value is. The value is in reoccurring revenue in this example, and you get a higher valuation, potentially a big higher valuation. That's just like where can you find value? Get an ADU, get this, get that inside single families. Creative financing. We've talked about that a lot because you're the concierge to small business loans. I'm just more and more intrigued by how similar those worlds are. And it's funny, I actually think you could be more creative with small business lending than you can real estate, given partnerships and things of that. So it's I'm just so glad you're here every week to broaden my thinking about this concept.
Oh yeah, no, it's fun. I get calls. People set up appointments. I've got a guy now, and he's looking at a $14 million business acquisition. He owns two small businesses right now. And he's like, yeah, I talked to my local banks, and like they couldn't. So I'm trying to help him. Um, that's a big purchase. So we would do something like a 4.85 million dollar SBA loan. Then we do like a $3 million conventional piece. Get the sellers willing to carry about 3 or 4 million. Right?
Mm.
You can make these big deals work, and
Yeah.
this would be a huge step for this guy, right? And so it's like, it's amazing to watch people take these steps, whether it's real estate investing or it's business ownership. And that's really the catapult, like learning how to utilize 1031 exchanges, this trading up, because sometimes you get overwhelmed, like, well, how do I ever get to the, big
Yeah.
leagues? Well,
Yeah.
you gotta hit the base hits, get the single families, the duplexes, and then you 1031 and into a bigger asset class when the time is right. And
Yeah.
same thing with businesses. You start small, and then and before you know it, now you've owned a business for 3 or 4 years. You've got a track record.
Yeah.
You've got some equity in that business. Now you can go roll up and buy additional businesses in that same sector, or parlay it into something much bigger. And that can be literally a game changer for all of us out there.
No, I love it. Bo, again, thank you very much for letting the school members be a part of your Saturday session. If somebody wanted to book a 15-minute call with you and talk about all of this, how would they do that?
Simply just go to onerentalmeeting.com, and there's the calendar link, and just book a call.
onerentalmeeting.com. It still makes me chuckle that you created a URL just for our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you.